Our first patient lives in a shelter and has HIV infection. This scenario illustrates some of the issues involved with patients who have competing concerns, such as homelessness or a coexisting medical condition like HIV. Some of the things to watch for here are how the interviewer deals with the patient's special circumstances, the patient's distrust of authority, and his initial reluctance to cooperate.
Jerry! Jerry!
Jerry was a contact to a case we were investigating, and I went out into the field and got him to come into the clinic for an evaluation. We tested him, showed a positive cavity on x-ray, and he's also HIV positive. The doctor evaluated him and felt that he should be hospitalized. While we were waiting to get him a room, he jumped ship on us, so he's probably down at the soup kitchen because I know he was waiting for food and he knows that's where they serve it, so I'm trying to track him down through them now.
They told me they wanted to put me in the hospital. I don't like hospitals. My mother died in a hospital overnight. I don't want no problems with the hospital. And they were gonna give me some food. They didn't give me nothing. No food, not even a coffee.
Well, right now I have to try to do a little bit of damage control. I guess I didn't really tell Jerry that he might be admitted to the hospital, so he's probably a little upset at this point. Also, I have to try and convince him that it would be better off for him to go into the hospital. I'm sure he's not going to be too happy about that.
They want to find out what the hell's going on. Nothing going on.
Yeah, but you should go to the hospital, man.
I'm not going. They kill you in the hospital. You go in there feeling pretty good, and the next thing you know, you're dead. That happened to my mother. She was in good shape, and I took her to the hospital because she was...
Where you been?
Oh, him.
I was looking for you at the clinic. I turned around and you were gone. What happened?
I don't want to go back to that place, so don't start with me.
Jerry, you know, those tests we did at the clinic there? You know, we need to talk about those, okay?
You're not taking me back. I'm not going back, that's all.
Can we, you know, talk away from your friend here? I don't want to disturb him while he's having his lunch.
He's my buddy. We're in the same place. We can talk.
Well, I think some of the things we want to discuss, we might want to discuss in private. Can we just go over to the side a little bit?
Okay.
We'll talk.
Okay.
I'll be here, Jerry. I'll watch you.
Go away. Don't want to take that.
No, I'll watch you. You know I'll watch you.
You never know when the conversation is going to switch to more sensitive subjects, and it's always good to have a little bit of confidentiality. It gives the patient more leeway to say things to you that he otherwise might not. Remember that x-ray we did?
Yeah, the picture here again.
Yeah, well, guess what? It showed an actual hole in your lung, okay?
A what?
A hole. They call it a cavity. I mean, that means that you probably have TB, okay? And the doctor, the reason that we left you there so long, and I'm real sorry about that, because the doctor was trying to get you a room at the hospital. Now, I know you don't want to go.
No, give me some medicine. I'll take it. I'll take it. I promise you.
Jerry?
I don't know anybody that goes to those hospitals that comes out.
Oh, I know
They
plenty
come out,
of
you know how they
people.
come out on the back.
Don't worry, Jerry. We're going to take good care of you. One of the good news I have for you is that TB is curable. We can take care of it, and you'll be fine. You'll be good as new, okay?
Pete made very good eye contact. We don't want interviewers having their eyes wandering around, because patients usually do that. So we want the interviewer to focus on the patient, make the patient feel important.
He also did a great job in educating Jerry. He educated Jerry at the appropriate level. I think he didn't talk over Jerry's head, nor was he condescending. He gave enough information so that Jerry could really understand what's going on in his body. He was graphic when he needed to be.
You're going to watch it, make sure everything's all right?
Yeah, I'll be there with you every step of the way.
They make more mistakes that they get right.
The doctor has to just do a few more tests, and we're going to start you on meds probably right away, and within a couple of weeks, you'll be getting better.
When do we go?
Okay. I'm going to get the car, I'll bring it around, and I'll take you right over to the clinic. Okay? Great.
Okay.
I know he had been mishandled, so I was trying to reestablish rapport with him by being personable and trying to make him feel comfortable.
I thought I just had a cold, and I thought this a lot of making a big stink over nothing. But he scared me. he scared me. And he's nice, you know. And I thought, well, I'll go along with him and see if we can find out what the hell's going on, I guess.
I got to see firsthand exactly where he spends a good deal of his time, which gave me a better idea of how the air is handled in that particular facility. And I was able to see that one of his friends there is probably already going to be high on my contact list. What I want to do now is answer any questions that you might have, especially about, you know, where this comes from and how you get it. I'm sure you're curious. TB is an airborne disease. Usually you get it from somebody else who's coughing, and just like you are now, because your body's trying to get rid of the germ. And when you cough, that germ gets released into the air. I mean, you know, that's why, you know, we have...
I'm in that shelter. There's 50 guys sleeping in the same room.
Yeah.
And they're all coughing. I could have got from any one of them. You know, they're all...
They probably don't all have TB. I mean, can you see a difference between this cough and other coughs you've had in your life? Usually when you have TB, the cough is much more severe and it just doesn't go away.
No, it doesn't go away.
And that's the difference. The TB germ reproduces in the lungs. I know, it is hot in here. As I was saying, eventually the bacteria get a foothold in the lungs, and that's where they cause the damage, okay? TB can affect any part of the body. Once it's in you, it can get into the blood and it can cause other problems. So that's why we need to get you fully evaluated in the hospital, checked out, top to bottom. You know, we're gonna make sure you're A-okay. You okay? Can I get you a drink of water or anything?
No, I'm okay. I had water a little while ago.
As I said, the TB is airborne. That means when you cough, laugh, or speak to someone, the germ can be breathed into the air, okay? Somebody who's around you for a lot of time can breathe in enough of the germs so that they can get TB, all right? That's how it spreads. Now, how long have you had the cough?
Oh, I've been coughing for about 3 months.
3 months? How long have you had these night sweats and everything?
Last month or so.
Last month?
Month, maybe a little more. I
Yeah.
wake up soaking wet.
Mm-hmm. And you also lost some weight.
Yeah.
And
You want to see something?
sure. What's that?
Look at this.
Yeah. Wow, you did lose some weight. And when did you first notice that?
I don't know exactly, but I think it's been falling off because everything is loose. Last
Really?
couple of months, I guess.
Okay. So about 2 months. So really, it was about 3 months ago, though, when you first noticed these symptoms beginning. Is that right?
Yeah.
Jerry was a tough customer. He had a lot of other problems that were complicating his TB. And it was hard for me to address those other problems and get to the information which I needed to perform a good contact investigation. The fact that you were in contact with somebody else who had TB,
These are lousy, these things you gotta wear.
I know.
They go in my eye.
He was in an airborne infection isolation room. So in that situation, I think it would be most appropriate for the patient, for Jerry, not to have to wear a surgical mask. However, since he's still potentially infectious, it would be more appropriate for the interviewer to be wearing a personal respirator, such as an N95 respirator. In the situation where he may not be in an airborne infection isolation room, then it would really be appropriate for Jerry to keep the surgical mask on to prevent dispersion of the aerosol as much as possible. As you could see, the type of mask that he had on had very wide gaps. And so if somebody coughs, you can imagine that small particles would escape out those areas. The recommendation suggests that that healthcare worker, while interviewing the patient, should be wearing an N95 respirator or a similar personal respirator to protect them from a potentially infectious patient.
In a few weeks, you won't need your mask anymore. Once you start taking the TB drugs, you won't be contagious anymore. It takes a couple weeks, though, on the meds, okay?
How many medicines are there I have to take for this?
You know, we usually start you off on about 4 drugs, Okay?
Yeah, I have something to tell you.
What's that?
You know I'm HIV?
Yeah, I did
Yeah,
see
3
that
years
in
ago
the
they found out I got HIV,
Uh-huh.
and you want to give me 4 things. I don't even take the other 4 because they're horrible. They give me headache, they give me upset stomach, they give me diarrhea. Sorry to tell you that. I mean, they give you a lot, a lot of problems, and now you want to give me more stuff.
Well, we give 4 different drugs to start out usually. This is because sometimes people are resistant to one or the other of the meds. And then, if the tests come back okay, then we drop you down to just 2 drugs. If you stay on the meds and you take them the way we tell you to, you should be totally cured, all right?
Jerry has the 2 competing things, HIV and TB. Sometimes it's easier to start focusing on the TB because you can present this as this is curable, where the HIV is not, and it's kind of like you focus on the TB and you said, and we'll work on that, on the HIV. Lots of times it's easier for the patient to handle one thing at a time because it just becomes too overwhelming when they're giving everything at one time.
I think the interviewer should have been very concerned when Jerry said that he was not taking his HIV meds, because that could be an indication that Jerry will not also take his tuberculosis medication, which could be which could cause a huge problem for Jerry and those around Jerry. And so I think this would have been a perfect time to really talk to Jerry about being compliant and the need for compliance with the medication, and maybe just introduce just very gently that Jerry could actually do himself a great deal of harm by not taking the medication, or taking the medication when he felt like it or not as prescribed.
The fact that you were in contact with somebody else who had TB means that you could have also, by the same way, given it to someone, okay?
I don't know what you mean by contact. You mean that I went to bed with them or what?
Well, I want really anybody that you feel you spent a lot of time with
I
who
don't
could
know.
have.
I went to a New Year's party last year. There were a lot of people there, but I don't know their name, all those names. I got invited, you know. And Ann came, my friend Ann came to visit me, and then we went out and we had pancakes at that you hop?
I have.
Oh.
Okay, you know what, Jerry? Wait a minute. Actually, based on your symptom history, I really only need to know about the people that you had contact with from around October 1st up to now.
When you ask a TB patient a vague question, you're going to get a vague response. So Jerry was saying, well, New Year's Eve, and he started to ramble off some names, but Jerry needed direction. So Pete caught that, and Pete backtracked a little bit and said, hold on a second, let me just tell you what I really need from you is between this time and that time, tell me about the people that you were hanging out with. And that gives the interviewer and the interviewee direction.
You want to define close contact for the patient so that they understand who's high priority for testing. We often look at the close contacts first, such as folks in a household, work site, and test them. And if we see that transmission actually occur, we will move on to those who are not considered close contacts, casual contacts.
Now, I want you to think about the last 3 months up to today and the people that you spent a lot of time with, as far as talking to them, hanging out, people who you might think have given this to.
You go there and you tell them I'm sick. They're not going to let me back in there. They're not going to let me back in there anymore.
Well,
In the shelter.
one of the things that we do is we make sure everything is kept totally confidential. No one's going to know that you gave their name, okay?
Yeah.
But it's very important that we get to these people and make sure they're okay. I mean, you're okay now. We're going to give you meds, and you're going to be well.
There's a guy named Tyrone who sleeps right next to me.
When was the last time you were with Tyrone?
Before I came down here.
So you
'Cause
saw
he
him
sleeps-
today?
The beds are only this far apart. They call them cots. They're only this far apart.
Mm-hmm. How long have you known him?
I don't know, year.
A year?
Yeah.
How often do you see him usually?
Every night.
Every night, huh? What does he look like?
He's tall and he's skinny and he's black.
Okay. Any place that you can think of where he frequents or, you know, goes to a lot?
I don't know. I saw him on West Market Street a couple of times.
Mm-hmm. Whereabouts on West Market?
I don't know, near Borough. I don't know the name of that cross street that goes across there. Somewhere on West Market Street. Hey, what is this? I feel like you're a cop.
Well, I got to try to make sure I'm able to take care of Tyrone. Like I said, same way I took care of you, I'm going to try to do the same thing for him. Getting contacts from homeless people is always hard because even with the names, it's hard to track them down. Many times they are migratory. They go from city to city, or they don't like to stay in shelters. Who do you spend the most time with when you're there? Who's your buddy?
I don't like too many people, but I really like one guy. He's really nice. His name is... I don't want to tell you.
Was that the guy that was with you when I was over at
Yeah,
the shelter?
yeah.
Is that Phil,
Phil.
right?
Yeah, Phil.
How old is he?
I think Phil must be about 50.
Yeah.
But a nice guy. He's a nice guy.
Yeah, he seemed really nice.
Now, he doesn't sleep near me, so he didn't give me this TV. He sleeps at the other end of the room.
Well, he might have caught it from you, though, see? That's why we got to make sure. We got to test him. We got to make sure he's okay. That's all. I don't want any of the guys.
But he ain't
to
going to talk to me anymore, I can tell you that one.
Oh, I'm sure he will. The thing of it is that he wants to be well, too.
He was very persuasive without being assertive or very aggressive. He didn't turn Jerry off. In fact, Jerry just kept giving information, I think in part because he wasn't threatened by the interviewer. The interviewer was came off as a very nice guy, compassionate and understanding.
You know, as long as these other guys are out there who might have TB, we're not going to be able to get rid of it. You might just get it back when you go back to that shelter. I mean, one of the other things I want to do is try to get you out of that shelter.
Oh.
We're going to hook you up with some social services here.
Now you're talking.
Yeah.
When he talked about getting me a place to live, that was the best thing he said. If you could find me a place to live that's halfway okay, that's what I would like.
Just by the fact that he's homeless, he's got other problems. And these other problems very often interfere with the treatment. And if you can't deal with these other problems, you're never going to be able to deal with this TB.
You just want the names of the guys that are at the shelter?
Well, I want really anybody that you feel you spent a lot of time with.
I
Who
don't
could
know.
have-
I saw my son, Thanksgiving.
Your son? What's his name?
Paul.
What's his last name?
Oh, God. Same as me, Netter.
And how old is he?
Oh, he's, I don't see him that much, you know. He's, about 39.
39.
Yeah.
Do you know where he works?
What do you care?
Well, it's like I said, I want to take care of him too. I want to make sure he's okay.
He's a dentist.
He's a dentist?
So he works for himself. Get that stuff out.
Can I get you?
How much longer are we going to go on? You're talking and talking, and I'm barking and barking.
Jerry wanted to end the interview, but he was still giving me names of contacts. And as long as I'm continuing to get the information I need, I like to continue the interview because when the person leaves, there's always a possibility you'll never see that person again. They walk out that door and they're gone. So whatever I have at the end of the interview may be all I'm ever going to get. When was the last time you did see him?
Thanksgiving, we went to...
Thanksgiving?
Yeah. He came up here, and his wife and his kid.
How often do you see him?
Nice kid. Her name's Olivia.
Mm-hmm.
Nice kid.
How old is she?
My grandchild. The only one.
Mm-hmm. How old is she?
Oh, I don't know. Olivia?
Yeah.
Maybe 9.
9?
Yeah, cute kid. I'm not going to answer him anymore. You better wind it down.
Well, what's Paul's wife's name?
She's English.
Uh-huh. And what's her name?
Where'd they get you from? You go on and on. I told you I'm tired. You know what it is to be tired? I'm sweaty. I'm tired. I didn't sleep. I'm coughing. One more question.
Well, I just wanted to know what...
Francis.
Francis.
That's it. You got me all tired out.
All right. Let me see if your room's ready, okay? I'll see what I can find out.
You can only push so far. When the patient's beginning to get agitated, you really need to cut it off because then what turns out to be a good relationship can really turn bad really quickly by pressing and pressing.
I think it took too long. Questions and so many questions and questions. And I'm very hot and very tired. And you hear that.
He was angry, he was impatient, he was sick. He was a little moody. He did show a little bit of humor also, but most of his reaction was being angry that he had to be involved in this entire process. And it took a little bit longer period of time to get information from him. And I think many of our patients, homeless or otherwise, present those types of emotions during an interview.
I think it's going to require a re-interview on my part, or perhaps on another interviewer's part. Sometimes it's more beneficial to have another person redo the interview so that they can approach it from a different angle. If his son is still out of state, which I think he indicated, we'll have to send that through the proper channels to the other state and let them know that he's a contact to a case of TB. And we'll have to get further locating information on the son, the wife, and I'm particularly concerned with the child. There'll probably be a group investigation involving the people at the soup kitchen, the supervisors there, and we're probably going to also have to go to that shelter and set up some type of group-style contact investigation there as well.
The interviewer in this scenario did a very good job of handling a less than cooperative patient. Patients who are homeless can present with special needs and issues that pose a real challenge to an interviewer. As you saw with Jerry, these might include unmet personal needs for food and shelter, a distrust of authority, the very real likelihood that he cannot be found for follow-up interviews, problems with adherence, and the inability to provide identifying or locating information. Jerry's reluctance to reveal names demonstrated why it's so important to explain the reason for and the importance of the contact investigation as early as possible in the interview. This requires patient education both about TB transmission and close versus casual contacts and defining a specific infectious period. Jerry's case also illustrated why it's important to be sensitive to patients' issues and to recognize that TB may not be their most pressing concern. Following the communication techniques demonstrated and attempting to meet the patient's basic needs can help build rapport and increase the likelihood of obtaining the information you need.